That sounds like you problem.
If I could act in any Fright Nights attraction ever, what would it be?
I don't even know how to spell cat. Oh!
Being a buckbeat, being a lycanthrope wharf, I can't talk, words are hard.
Birthday bash!
Again, shout out to that entire cast who were a big part of why I loved it so much. But I'm going to be completely honest, when I first found out I was in it...
Dancing Queen, play it, music now!
Kapow! What's up, my baby bobbers? My name is Beggar Bulbasaur, or to the majority of people that are probably watching this type of video, hi, my name is James Ramon Baker. Last year made a video very similar to this, which ended up going a lot longer than I expected it to. Actually, specifically, it went for 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 11 seconds. Wasn't planned, but yeah, spooky. But yeah, basically this time, I kind of don't want it to run that long. So I'm going to get a lot of stuff out of the way very, very quickly. Yes, my name is James Baker. I was a Fright Night actor this year for the 20 Years of Fear at Thorpe Park Fright Night 2021. As I mentioned before, I was also in it last year when I was in Creek Freaks Unchained, and I did a little vlog video. Well, not really a vlog video, but like I said, if anyone's got questions, send me questions and I'll answer them in a video. And people sent me questions, so I answered them in a video. This year, I did actually do some more kind of half vlogging, half just kind of like filming bits of rehearsals and backstage antics and stuff during my time at Fright Nights. Nowhere near as much as I originally wanted to do, but I did get some footage. So I think what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to have this little intro, then I'm going to zoom you straight into a little bit of the early rehearsal footage that I took, and then we'll start answering some questions. And then as I'm answering questions, I'll probably like put videos over the top, so you're not just looking at my face with this very geeky background for the entire thing. So that being said, let's take a look at some of the rehearsal footage.
Hello, my name is Kylie Burke and I play Bear Trap, the clowns and the assistants.
Hi, I'm Kim. I've played Tracy, Magician Marvin, and I've played loads of Phyllis as well.
Hi, I'm Louisa. I've played Tabby the Clown, Bear Trap Bunny Hop, I did Princess, I've done Julie, Assistant Magician, Hattie, who else?
Everyone!
Hi, I'm Alex. I play Julie, Turvy, Crystal, and Bunny Hop.
Hi everyone, my name's Abby and I play Moxie and a couple of other characters as well.
Hi, I'm Libby and I play Hattie, Crystal and Marvin the Magician.
Hi, I'm Mia Rafe. I play Princess Crystal here and sometimes I counteract as Bear Trap and Bunny Hop.
Hello, I'm Shani. I play Moxie. I also play Julie, and I have played Bunny Hop, Hattie, and there's one more, Pinata.
I'm Chloe and I play Hattie and also Bear Trap Bunny Hop.
Hello, my name is Michael Barker. I play Hugo, Pinata and Clown.
Hi, my name is Sean and my main characters that I played in Birthday Bash were Hugo and also the Pinata.
Hi, I'm Danielle and I mainly play Bunny Hop.
Hi, I'm Alex, and my main characters are the Pinata and Topsy the Clown.
My name's Pearl and my main characters are Marvin and Chris. Hey!
Now show me your best clown outfit, show me your best clown trick, show me.
Why did you cheat on me? No, you cheated on me! Not cheating.
Still driving,
Yes, I'm going to be late.
That sounds like you problem.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Oh my god! I don't even know how to spell cat! See, the magician is got to help me. Yes, I'm down! Let's go!
Oh God, we're going downhill! We're going downhill! Oh God! Oh God!
Dancing Queen, play it, music now, please!
So, as I said, I did put out a tweet saying if anyone's got any questions to do with Fright Nights, working at Fright Nights this year, then let me know and I will answer them. As it stands at the moment, I'm just sort of like reading the questions in the order that they're in and answering them, but when it comes to editing, I'll probably put them in a bit more of a precise order. And I instinctively feel like this will be a question that I might start with. From Alex at Master Slayer. Thank you for sending in a question. They say, how do you get into scare acting and what sort of person do you have to be to get into that type of acting? Okay, so how do you get into scare acting? I personally got into it, my first maze was Creepy Caves at Chesington World of Adventures. I did that for its first year in 2017. And I did 3 years of that. I didn't work at the theme at Chesington full time. I just worked there doing their scare maze over Halloween. I got that job at that time through an old agent of mine. But I don't think you needed an agent to be able to get an audition for that particular job. I think you would have been able to find that on the Merlin website, which is my answer to people that want to get into Fright Nights. Even people that are returners, they go through the Merlin website. So around sort of like, I mean, sometimes I think it's gone up as early as like April or May, but definitely from like June, July time, be going onto the Merlin website and looking for jobs, and they do post up looking for Fright Nights actors for Fright Nights. So that is a way to find out to get an audition. You go along to the audition and you do the audition and hope that you get in. Concerning the audition, it's slightly different every year. This year in particular, I think they gave us 3 or 4 IPs, intellectual properties, and sort of had us play around with that. So you always do a start off with just a run and stop sort of thing, where they'll put either a cone or a person. Like, you'll have a big room, you'll have all the cast on one side, and they'll put a cone or a person somewhere in the room, and they'll say, right, one at a time, just run towards this cone, person, object, whatever it is, as fast as you can, and then stop without actually touching them. And that tends to be like scare acting 101 for most auditions. Even back when I was auditioning for Creepy Caves at Chesington, you always did that, and that tends to be one of your first sort of rehearsal like basics that you do as well, so expect that. But then they'll just give you characters and ask you to sort of like move around the space and make noises and even talk as that set character. So this year they gave us Buckwheat, we had to be for a few minutes. We had to be the crawlers and various characters from Platform. We had to be the jocks and the geeks and the various characters from Lycanthorpe and Amity, and they just see what you take to and how you take direction. They gave us a little bit of a script as well, which I think ended up being the monologue from Trailers, or an original version of the monologue from Trailers. but we got asked to do that as well. So yeah, you do your audition and put in a lot of effort and hope that you're successful in getting a job. The second part of that question, what type of person do you have to be? I mean, any. Like, I have met a variety of different types of people that get into scare acting and are fantastic scare actors. You don't have to be a specific type of person. I know some people that are into scare acting that they love that very specific genre and style of acting, myself included, and they get very passionate and into it. But then I know people who they're more passionate about maybe a different area or type of acting, but it doesn't mean that they're not just as good at scare acting as the people that it might be more their thing. So you don't have to be any sort of type of person. I would say the type of person you are may change how much you enjoy it and how much of how much the process ends up meaning to you. And because it's a tough job, it's I'm very lucky that I've been able to work a lot of different types of jobs over my time, whether it be straight plays, musicals, dance shows, concerts, a variety of things. And there's nothing like scare acting for me anyway. Like not just in terms of enjoyment, but in terms of like just how hard it is and the stamina and the willpower and the strength of mind it takes, and all areas of the arts and various jobs take that as well. But yeah, for me, scare acting is creme de la creme when it comes to that sort of stuff. So you don't have to be any sort of type of person, but someone that's into scare acting, that sort of genre, would be great.
Colour me a colour, baby. Colour me your thoughts. Colour me a colour, darling. I know who you are. Colour, flula, flula, la. I know where you're coming from. Call me. Call me anytime. Call me. You can call me any day or night. Call me.
This is press night. We're excited, guys. Yeah, we are. Look at that. Oh, look at the boat. Look at the boat. He's on a boat. Get there. Get there. Look at the boat. Yeah. Woo! Press night, baby.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't know how many numbers, but he's just gonna go and go until we tell him.
Alex also has a follow-up question, which I'm going to answer now as well. Also, how was it to work with such a great cast of people, and how do you handle people who don't repeat the rules when you're trying to give people the best experience possible? I'm guessing you meant don't respect the rules when you're trying to give people the best experience possible. So first of all, how was it to work with such a great cast of people? Amazing. And I hadn't already said it in my original intro, but we'll take this time to answer this question to do just shout out to my entire cast. Well, shout out to every actor that went through Fright Nights, and shout out to all the staff that put it together. And I'll circle back to that towards the end and like more specific thank yous. But my cast specifically, like, we just bonded. Like we just like, and it was kind of out of nowhere, because it's not like we were like all very similar type of people. There were obviously some similarities between people, but when it came to ages and interests and outside experience and so many factors, there was a lot of differences there, but we just clicked. I think there was just the right amount of everything that we had to create this perfect birthday cake. Hey. Oh man, yeah, that cast. I'm smiling just think about it. I miss them. I really miss them. And I mean, they were all so talented, so lovely. We worked together so well. And it was funny because like everyone had sort of like their set characters that they played more than anyone else. And 9 times out of 10, people's set character was the one that like tended to be the one that suited them the most. But everyone was just so good at everything. Like, for an example, I'll shout out to Mia, who was one of the main girls that played Princess Crystal, which was a heck of a part.
Thank you.
We'll talk more specifically about Birthday Bash, like when it regards to a question. But yeah, like the Princess Crystal character, like went down so well with so many people. It was like, it's so simple, but it was genius. Loved it. And so many of the girls played it well. Louisa played it incredibly well. Alex played it incredibly well. Pearl played it incredibly well. Kim, more people. I don't want to. I hate when I start naming because then I inevitably forget one name and then that person like feels like I've forgotten about them. I love you all, but the point being, Mia, that was like, she just was that character. She radiated it and she suited it so well. And to get to see that was just amazing, and to get to like just be inspired by my cast. Like every day there was someone doing something that was like that, stealing. I'm having that. I'm taking that. And just such genius. Again, we'll cycle back to this particular conversation at some point. But the day that I missed, well, I missed a couple of days because of the days off. But the day that I wasn't in Birthday Bash because I was in Creek on Halloween, and we'll cycle back and talk about that as well. There's a lot of things to cycle back to. I should take notes. But the day that I wasn't there because I was in Creek. When I then got home that evening, and I don't know if it was that evening or the next day, but I watched Jack Silkstone's video of the Halloween vlog, and I saw that they'd started this revolution to set the entertainers free, and I watched it and I was like, that is so smart. I wouldn't have thought of that myself. That was brilliant. So proud of them. Like, so yeah, my cast were a dream, and I will talk more about them as the video goes on. How do you handle people who don't respect the rules when you're trying to give people the best experience possible? So, I mean, for me, the last resort is always breaking character, but like, I will do it if I have to. I did it maybe, I think less than 5 times this year. I'd say between 3 and 5 times I did it this year. Very rarely, like only as a last resort. Like, even if I'm telling someone off, I'll try and do it in character if I can, if I think it can be taken seriously, or I can get away with sort of acting around the situation. So I'll always try and like not create an awkward circumstance, especially if there's other people watching, which, you know, Birthday Bash was very out in the open, and like, yeah, there were set moments where you might be sat at a table or more tucked away, or like just might be a bit quieter in the area and you'd be having more of a direct one-on-one or two-on-two conversation. But a lot of the time when you're interacting, there's tons of people watching you. So you don't want to have to like create that awkward situation and break the immersion for other people. So I'll always try and the rest of the cast will always try and stay in character as much as possible. But it entirely depends on the situation. Like if they are, if they're just being a little bit mouthy, then we'll try and warn them in character. Like, you know, I wouldn't do that. We don't like, especially with the IPA Birthday Bash, it'd be along the lines of like, oh, that's very disrespectful. This is a birthday party. Please show a little more respect, or we'll have to take you off the guest list. If they aren't getting the hint and it escalates, or it starts off from an already escalated point, then we'll break character and we'll say, excuse me, what seems to be the problem? You can't do that, you can't say that, whatever the situation may be. And if it's still, that isn't calming them down or getting them to respond in a way that we need them to for the safety of everyone involved, then there's a line and chain of command. There are people there's our show captain, Harry, shout out to Harry, incredible guy, we'll talk more about him as well. There's Harry, we've got our swing show captain, there's hosts, there's various staff always walking by, as people with radios. Like, if we need to, we get security involved. Thankfully, there were very few situations this year where security had to become involved. At least from my experiences personally. I can't speak for all the other attractions, obviously. But yeah, it wasn't too bad. You know, we had our run of more difficult guests, but it's part of the job. And again, cycling back to the question about like getting into scare acting, what sort of person do you have to be? I would probably say you need to. I'm not going to say you need to be someone who's good at handling confrontation, because not every scare actor is good at handling confrontation. But you need to be able to be at least willing to learn the protocol and stick to the protocol when it comes to dealing with a confrontation. You don't necessarily have to be the person that's willing to like single-handedly diffuse like a group of multiple people. That isn't expected of any individual actor. Although some individual actors are confident enough and experienced enough to be willing to do that. If they deem it safe and like it's an avenue that's going to be safe for everyone involved and could resolve the situation. But again, there's always so much support. But yeah, definitely, you know, be aware of the fact that, look, you know, it's the best job in the world, and 90% of guests are incredible and make the whole experience so worthwhile. But you do deal with unpleasant guests, and it would be no different from talking to someone that works in Sainsbury's and Starbucks, in a million other jobs I can name, doctors, nurses, whatever. Like, there's going to be an element of your job where you're going to have to deal with not so pleasant people. So yeah, but I don't think that's specific to scare acting. I think that's just a lot of avenues. But yeah, scare actors definitely get their share of it. But yeah, it was incredible to work with the cast, and yeah, I hope that answers your question about how we deal with disruptive guests.
Birthday bash!
Yeah! It's stint time, boys.
It's stint time, boys. Can you just sum up your day with one action?
I'm in pain.
Next question is from Hadley Bathroom. I hope I'm saying that name right. Deets on the screen. Thank you for your question. They say, do you recommend this job? Fright Nights actor. I really want to do this job because from your POV it looks amazing. Yes, I recommend this job. It's my favourite job of every job that I've ever done. I spend literally the whole year as soon as the season ends, I miss it, and I'm looking forward to the next season. Even if I've got loads of other things that I'm fortunate to be able to be doing in the meantime, I miss it. It's my favourite thing to do. I absolutely recommend anyone try it. It's not going to be for everybody, because it's I think it's a very niche type of performing. But like those of us that love it, like, oh god, we love it. So yes, I would absolutely recommend trying out scare acting anywhere that you can. But yeah, Fright Night specifically, incredible. Next up, we've got TP Alex at Slushy Vlogs YouTube. Thank you so much for your question. Deets on the screen. Go give them a follow, and they're on YouTube as well. I think I've seen I've watched your vlogs before.
Yeah. Okay. Crazy world we live in, ain't it? Ain't it? Because if you're lying to Lucas and you ain't really got skills, then you still got skin. And we can find a use for that. You understanding me, boy? Yep. Now get moving. Okay. I don't want to see your face again. Bye.
So thank you for leaving a question. Go give them a subscribe, give them a follow. Firstly, you are a great actor. Thank you so much. In Birthday Bash and in Creek Freak, you were fantastic, well done. Question, if you could act in any Fright Nights attraction ever, what would it be? And did you prefer acting in a maze, zone, or a show? Thanks. Thank you. Right, if I could act in any Fright Nights attraction ever, what would it be? Big Top. Straight up. Like, I never got to experience it in person. Never got to, unfortunately. But I knew of the legend that is Big. I'd heard of the legend that is Big Top, and I'd seen videos. And I really enjoy the circus IP and the clown IP. Yeah, love that. And then when I ended up watching Jack Silkstone's documentary for Big Top, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's fascinating. I was just like, oh my god, like I would love to have been. It was similar to like when I first saw the first run of Creek Freak. This is back when I'd only done Creepy Caves at Chessington for 3 years. But I saw a video of that maze, and I just fell in love, and I was like, oh my god, I need to do this. I need to be in this maze. I just have to. And it became an obsession. And then yeah, like when I saw that documentary of Big Top, I was like, oh my god, like it's not possible because it's gone. I mean, I don't think it will come back. I think they've got trailers now. They can have a room for it, and that's fine. I don't think we'll see it in full action again. But if it ever did, so yeah, Big Top is definitely the answer to that one. Did you prefer acting in a maze, zone, or a show? Well, technically, I mean, other than the one day I did in Creek on Halloween, I've not ever technically actually done a maze at Thorpe. So obviously I was in Creepy Caves. That was for 3 years. And I'm trying not to talk too much in detail about things I talked about in my video from last year. Some things I'll obviously bring up to refresh. But if you're enjoying this video and you want maybe some more details about some things that I've sort of mentioned but not gone into detail about, go and watch last year's video. Last year's video talks, it's mostly about Creek, but some of the questions are just about my experiences as a scare actor, and I do talk about my time in Creepy Caves a lot more from 3 years there. So if you're interested in that, go and watch last year's video. But yeah, Creepy Games was fantastic. Spent 3 years in there. That was amazing. That will always be very sentimental to me. So I'm recording this at the wrong time, really, because I've just got over well, I'm not completely over it, but I'm near enough over an ankle injury, which was what made me miss the final day of Fright Nights. Today's the 14th, Sunday the 14th of November. It was a week today was the last day of Fright Nights, the last buyout day, although I missed that last day due to an ankle injury. I'll come back and that's another thing we'll take a note of, and I'll come back and talk about. But I literally just to the point where I'm like pretty much over it, and I've caught a cold, and I don't generally get ill, and I'm not generally want to moan about man flu, but blimey, this is not the hell out of me. But if I don't record this today and start editing it, then I might not get a chance for ages. So I want to push on. So yeah, I spent 3 years in Creepy Caves. Then obviously last year I was in Creek, but wasn't because of COVID. It wasn't, the sawmill was closed, so I was in the zone. And don't get me wrong, I had like one of the best experiences of my life, and absolutely loved it. And it's so incredibly sentimental to me that last year being in Creek Freaks Unchained. But I didn't get to do the mill. But then I did finally get to do it for one day on Halloween, and oh man, I was so in love. I was having the time of my life, literally. If there's anyone watching that came through and saw me in there, just comment down. How happy did I see you on a scale of 1 to 10? Just how happy exactly? No context, just give me a scale out of 10 if you came through and you saw me. But yeah, I loved it. So, what do you prefer? I mean, I feel like I need to talk a bit more about my experience in general of Birthday Bash. So let's do that now. I loved Birthday Bash. I absolutely loved it. Again, shout out to that entire cast who were a big part of why I loved it so much. But just as a general attraction to be in, I loved it. I think it was fantastic. But I'm going to be completely honest. When I first found out I was in it, and I didn't really know what it was, I wasn't the most pleased. Now, I didn't expect to get Creek Freak. Let's get that out of the way right now. A lot of people had said, oh, you're bound to get it next year, you're bound to get it. And I was like, they're not going to do it. They don't put people in the same maze 2 years in a row unless they have to. Or on very rare occasions. And I didn't think I did anything specifically special to be that rare occasion, so I didn't expect to get put in there again. But at the same time, I was not expecting to get put in the show. There was a period where, so when I did my audition, they mentioned that they were looking for singers, and if anyone was interested, they should send a vocal reel to a specific email. And I had a thought, I ummed and ahed about it, even to a point where I think I put a thing on my Instagram story saying, should I sing or scare this year at Fright Nights? And I think it ended up being like 92% ended up saying like scare. But yeah, I'd pretty much already made my own mind up that I wasn't going to go for singer, because again, like I've done a lot of singing stuff in the past. I kind of at this point pretty much given up on singing anyway, and like kind of closed that chapter in my life, or at least paused it for the time being. It wasn't something I was interested in doing. And again, if and when I do want to sing, there's plenty of opportunities for me to do that throughout the year if I want to. Scare season for me is my chance to scare act. So I was like, no, I'm not going to go for singer. So I didn't apply for it, but I still got it. I still got given the main male singer in it. And at first I was like, I wasn't best pleased, and my main reasons for that was I didn't think I'd be very good in it. Like, straight up, like the song I ended up singing, Tainted Love, is not, even when I'm at vocal peak, isn't the sort of song that really suits my voice. I've never been the strongest dancer. Like, I've had to dance plenty for shows in the past, and you put me with a group, a big enough group, and I'll blend in given enough rehearsal time. But it's never been a particular selling point of mine. And just on the fact that I didn't really know exactly what it was, and I was just a bit like, I'm not going to get to scare. And that was the main reason that I wasn't best pleased. It wasn't anything personal against Birthday Bash. It was just like, I don't know if I'm good enough to be able to be singing and dancing in this. And on a personal standpoint, I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to scare. So I was a little hesitant, not going to lie. But it's amazing how something can win you over. Because as we started being explained more about exactly how they saw it, shout out to Molly Clift, who is a genius. It's her baby, her IP. I'm sure she's watching this. And I know she won't take anything that I've just said, but she will understand where I'm coming from, and she will just be pleased that I grew to love it so much. I'm sure. What a credit to Thorpe Park that girl is. But yeah, it was her idea, and as her and Harry, the show captain, started sort of telling us more about how they saw it, and like it wasn't being advertised as a scare zone, but it was meant to be still be an immersive experience. I think it was a scare zone personally, but there you go. And I started seeing more how it could be. And like the characters are genius. Like you look at Hugo and Hattie, I think are two of the best Fright Nights characters that must have ever been made, and the amount of people I heard say exactly that. So such fantastic characters. And then like you look at, again, we talk about Princess Crystal, and we started off with the 2 clowns, Topsy and Turvy, and there ended up being 5 clowns by the end of it, because everyone put their own unique spin on their interpretations of clowns. And of course we had Julie, and playing the pinata was a lot of fun. Again, I'll come back and talk about some of these in more detail, because some of the questions are to do with like the favourite parts that I played. But yeah, just the more it got explained to us how they saw it, and how it wasn't just a show, there was going to be a lot more to it than that, and a lot more chance to act, and I did get to do bits of scaring depending on what character I was playing. I grew to love it. I really did grow to absolutely just fell in love with it. I think it was so clever. I think it was underappreciated. By me as well at the beginning, to be fair. So, you know, maybe fair enough. But I think people who got the most out of it are people who came back to Thorpe like a couple of times or a few times and got to see it sort of grow and see it under different circumstances, because it was never the same twice. Like obviously the shows were all the same, although we would ad lib and bits, like you'd have different characters on different dance tracks, etc., and you'd have different people playing different parts. But the layout of the show was always the same, but like the general roaming and improving, it's improving. Like you make so it's always something new. So I think how much you enjoyed Birthday Bash depended on like how much of a chance you gave it, and how much like did you just come and sit and or stand at the back and watch a little bit of the show and walk off. If so, you probably didn't really appreciate it fully. But if you spent time to actually talk to some of the characters, maybe even got to see multiple bits of different shows throughout the day, and especially if you came back on different days and got to see the story grow to the revolution, Viva la Turvy, shout out to Louisa, then I think you got a lot more out of it. So yes, I loved Birthday Bash, I really did. I'm really glad this year worked out the way it did. I'm glad I got to experience it. Obviously when you're doing something brand new as well, that's always a lot of pressure, and the fact that they wanted me to be the male lead singer for something brand new was a huge honor, and the fact that they trusted me to do that. So yeah, absolutely loved it. I really, really did. But I'm going to answer the question honestly. I would say I prefer when I get to do more my style of scare acting. But don't get me wrong, again, when I was the clown, especially when I was the clown in Birthday Bash, I did get to do a lot more of my style of just scaring and being that more sort of vicious character to a degree. You know, we had to make sure that we didn't push the clown to the point where it was okay, you look like you should be in trailers. There had to be a line, but I got to push towards that line a little bit more, so I did still get to do that. But no, if I'm being honest, I love just going nuts scare acting, and I got to do that a lot in last year in the Zone, Creek Freaks Unchained, and I got to do that this year in the Mill. So yeah, I would say I prefer my Creek experiences, but that's nothing at all against Birthday Bash. Again, at first I was a bit but I grew to absolutely love it. I'm so glad I did it. I met the best people. So yeah, I really can't complain. So hope that answers your question.
Friday the 15th of October, back to Fright Nights. There's a crow in our midst. Where does he go?
Nobody knows.
Answers in the comments, please.
Actually, wait, no, I'll go there.
He goes over there. He's over there. This is where you'll find Connor over the course of the run. Enjoy it. Show him some love. He deserves it. Welcome to Birthday Bash's blind date. This is our annual pinata. What is your chat-up line? This has been hyped up a bit.
Some are born great, some achieve greatness, but I can thrust greatness all upon you.
It isn't me, Topsy the Clown.
Sausage roll!
Connor Mahoney, what an absolute lad, says, when will the Crow and the Pinata have a collab? Yo, we already got married at Fright Nights, so that's that question out of the way. All the love to you, Connor. Shout out to the Crows. What a fantastic performance from Connor this year, as every year that I've seen him anyway. Shout out to Connor. Go and follow him. Details are on the screen right now. Was great getting to know you a little bit better this year, dude. I'm sure we'll get the chance to actually properly work together at some point. But yes, it was always fun when the Crows came and into our birthday bash area and getting to interact with them. And at one point, as the Pinata, I married one of them, and it turned out to be Connor. So you still need to take me on a honeymoon. Next up, we've got Abby Mallet, one of my 2 wives. She says, "What was it like working with me, Abby? It was." As I commented back, it was a dream come true. I can retire now. I feel like my time in the arts, I've accomplished everything I set out to do. But where do I go from here, Abby? So yeah, it was an honour and a privilege. Thank you for being one of my wifeys. Go and follow Abby. Her information is down below. Such a talented girl, such an incredibly good singer. Watch this space. That girl is going places. Next up, we got a question from Tom Kant, at Thomas Kant. Thank you for your question. He says, I wanted to ask, what was it like performing at Fright Nights for a 2nd year in a row? What was the audition process like? And I absolutely loved you in Birthday Bash. Thank you very much for that last bit. Appreciate that. Wanted to ask, what was it like performing at Fright Nights for a 2nd year? Fantastic. And again, like, I got to, I've talked a lot about, like, my enjoyment of the acting side of it and the performing side of it. But again, like, it's just the social side of it as well is great. I mean, there were a lot of people last year who I recognised, and then they were there this year, and like on day one I recognised them. I was like, oh, you were here last year. But I'd gone through the whole of last season without ever actually having interaction with them. And that's just kind of like the way it goes sometimes, because you meet everybody at the beginning when you get told your mazes. And then you might have a couple of crossover days for rehearsals, but then that's it. Like, even though you're in on mostly the same days, everyone comes in, they go off to their own attractions. Some people stay in their own attractions and their attraction green room all day, unless they want to come over to the main area, if they want to go to the cafeteria or the smoking area or whatever. But not everybody does that. So a lot of people you don't always necessarily get to see. But this year I got to get to know, I for the first time got to speak to people that I'd never had previously from last year, or just people that I didn't speak to last year, but I got to know them better. So love that part of it as well, and just love being back at Fright Nights. It's my favourite job. What was the audition process like? I touched on that earlier. Again, it was a lot of the run and stopping, like Scare 101 I call it, and then just trying out playing different characters, being a buckbeat. Give me a buckbeat.
Come through with my chainsaw like a buckwheat, fresh meat, chop man up like a buckwheat.
Being a buckwheat, being a lycanthrope wolf, I can't talk, words are hard. Wolf, being the sleepers from Platform 15, trying a bit of everything and being a clown and seeing how you took to it. And I absolutely loved you in Birthday. Thank you very much, Tom Khan. Next up, we have a question from Kirby Powell at Kirby_Powell. Thank you very much for your question. Saw you as the Pinata on Saturday and you were incredible. The head shake when I asked if you're okay was that emoji. My question is, how did you remain in the traumatized state while people were talking to you and or trying to make you laugh? Props to you. And they've actually included a little video. Shall we watch it and react to it quickly? And just add that on as an extra thing. Hold on. Fantastic Harry singing the song far better than I ever did. Props to Harry. And that's me looking homeless. You don't like that. You would try wearing it, mate. Thank you very much, first of all, for the compliment. Glad you like the head shake. My question is, how did you remain in the traumatized state when people were talking to you, trying to make you laugh? Props to you. I'm trying to think how I can answer this without sounding just like a bit of a dick. But I don't know. There probably is another way, but I'm an actor. It's what I do. Like every other actor at Fright Nights. It's what we're trained to do, and what we our experience doing. And I'm 31. I've got a bedrock of experience of performing and being heckled and having to continue through a host of things. That's not to say I have never corpsed, never laughed or never lost concentration. It happens. But no, I don't think I did as the pinata. And yeah, you just very much, well, for me personally, I was just very much in that zone and just concentrating on how I was acting and thinking about my facial expression. And I used to like talking to the head, which I thought would look quite weird in a good way, hopefully in a good way. And yeah, just stay focused on what you're doing, really. But yeah, you're obviously always aware of what's going on, because like, I would walk around like that, like really slowly for ages, and then all of a sudden I'd run at someone and shout, "Help me!" With the idea being, it's like waxing. It's like what the crows do. You spend long enough doing little or nothing. When you do finally do something, it's all the more powerful. So yeah, so you pick your moments, and I'm tuned into like looking around and listening, and like who seems scared, who seems like the person that would break or run if I was to suddenly burst out at them. But yeah, it was a lot of fun being the pinata. It was definitely one of the funner parts to play, and I hope you enjoyed your experience with the entirety of Birthday Bash. Next question is from Sophia at Sophia V Green. Thank you for your question. She says, just wanted to say a big well done for starters. I thoroughly enjoyed watching Birthday Bash. Good, I'm very glad to hear that. I'd love to ask, as you have played multiple characters, is this decided by you guys on the day? And how do you decide? Best wishes for the future. Thank you so much for your question, Sophia. So no, casting was done by Molly right at the beginning. She worked out who would play who and on what days. We got an initial schedule right at the beginning, but they're always like subject to change based on like people being ill or injured or just availability changing or needs of the park or whatever. But they give you a rough schedule so we knew what characters we would be playing over the run. So no, that's all decided ahead of time. However, quite often things would be adjusted for one or two reasons. One, like I said, if people were off due to injury or ill or whatever, then we would have to swap things around, because some characters could only be played by certain people. Where like anyone could be a clown, anyone could jump into. Some people may be more experienced as clowns, but anyone could do it. Anyone could jump into the clowns because they didn't do anything specific that was just for them. Whereas Bear Trap and Bunny Hop, if you were one of them, specifically they did the Derangers dance. And again, that's one of those things that, depending on how often you came, or you may have completely missed the Derangers performance, which was Bear Trap and Bunny Hop doing their Thorpe Park Rangers style dance, but while trying to bash each other in with a hammer, basically. But we only did that at random points in the day, and not even every day, so you might not necessarily seen that. But if you were playing one of them on a day where we was meant to be doing Derangers, you had to know the Derangers dance. And again, a lot of people had learnt it from rehearsals, but not everyone. Or some people might have learnt it but then not done it for 2 weeks. And you know, sometimes, you know, I think there were situations where people had to jump onto dance tracks that they hadn't done in ages, and that's just the way it is. You know, you learn it in rehearsal, you need to retain these things. But if they can, they'll always try and give it just like, who knows it best? Okay, you play that person this day. And again, like for the singers, especially at the beginning, it was just... I think it only ever ended up being me and Harry that played Manu. Although shout out to Chloe who played Manu on the final day. But obviously you could, like, not everyone learned the Tainted Love song, or the Moxie song Call Me, or the Hattie song Cherry Bomb. Not everybody learned them in rehearsal, so you can't expect just anyone to jump into that role. So there's a lot of moving parts. So if one person has to jump into this thing, then someone else has to jump into that, but they might not know that, so you have to use them instead. So there was a lot of like jiggling things around, and then just as the run went on, people found the characters that they were like best at, and you know, we had certain like I don't think it's a bad thing to say, like it got to a point where like we knew who was more favoured to each role, and sometimes that was just because they enjoyed it more. But yeah, everyone had their set roles that they played, and that would be jigged around by the show captain as and when was either needed, or just to, you know, give us a break and let us try something different. Like, for an example, a lot of the good reasons why I would play Pinata, and I played Hugo once, and I played a lot of Clown, a lot of that would be to give me a vocal rest, so I wasn't singing Tainted Love every day, 6 times a day, and the same for Harry. So yeah, like, that's another reason you play a different character, and that's another reason why Pinata I ended up going down the don't talk route and like just looking traumatized, because I wanted to rest my voice. So yeah, no, it's all decided ahead of time, but there were changes made based on needs of the park or just mixing things up for everyone to have a laugh. So I hope that answers your question. Next question is from Chris Long at ChrisLong501. Thank you for your question, Chris. They say, I would like to ask, how do you stay in character even when you scare someone so much it must make you laugh inside? Just, again, experience. You get used to it. Again, like, I'm 31, I've done not just scare acting, but I've done plenty of comedy plays and musicals and stuff. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I've never corpsed and it's never happened. And I've seen it happen to other actors as well. But mostly we're used to it. We just get on with it and then we laugh about it when we're not in character anymore, when we're backstage or finished for the day. So yeah, we still enjoy what we're doing, obviously, but no, like, you stay in character because, you know, you don't want to break the experience for other people, but on the inside we're having a great time. So I hope that answers your question, Chris.
Emotions come, I don't know why.
How do you feel about this song, Shaney?
I'm just trying to have a pizza.
Fright Nights. Everyone ready for the choreography? Yep, come on, Louisa, you got it.
Oh, catching me at my best always, James.
Always. Welcome back, Hugo.
I'm trying to not actually outline my actual eyebrows. I'm trying to like.
This is one of you now, Chloe, who came on Park as a guest and just watched all of our own show. There you go. Now you're in it. There you go. Did you enjoy your day, Chloe?
I very much did. Everyone was amazing.
Amazing. They were so amazing. They were still totally good. Signing out. Goodbye. Bye.
I nearly ran you over.
Is this my wife with a buckwheat in the car? Goodness me, the audacity. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Next one is from Laura at Laura H. Thank you for your question. How did it differ being in a show compared to a maze or zone where you're not having to fully scare people the whole time? Again, so I touched on this a bit earlier, so hopefully that contributed towards answering your question, but it differs in a lot of ways because, you know, like, I compare it to Creek Freak last year. You'd spend an hour in the zone, you'd have a half an hour break, but the difference was... I mean, the difference between a zone and a maze in general is the fact that, like, in a zone, which I was in this year and last year, you can always be seen. There's always people that can see you, whereas if you're in a maze, you tend to be, like, unless people are in the room with you because they're going through your room of the maze at the time, you get time on your own, even if it's a very short amount of time, especially on busy days. But you can't be seen by, like, 100 plus people all the time, whereas in Creek Freak and Birthday Bash, you could. So that element from last year was still the same, but again, that's what makes it different from a maze. You're not constantly having to stay in character and fully be seen by everyone. And yeah, it just differed in the fact that, again, it was a different IP. The idea wasn't just to scare people out of their mind. There was an element of that, but it was more meant to be like a creepy, immersive experiences. And yeah, we had scares, especially from the clowns and Hugo with the bat and Hattie with a ferret. Bamushka, was that the name? Bamushka? I think it was called Bamushka. So yeah, we had our scares, but again, we were meant to be more of a creepy and even kind of comedy at times sort of vibe. We were never meant to be like a family-friendly zone. It was never meant to be like, oh, bring your kids to Birthday Bash. It was never meant to be that. Although, of course, there are exceptions where we would adopt a more child-friendly character for a minute. You know, like if we deemed it appropriate for the situation. But generally, like, even with kids coming by, we were still like being our creepy characters and like scaring them and stuff. So, but it was just a very different style. But obviously, then we also had the 6 shows a day. So for an element of it, you're on stage or backstage waiting to go on. So yeah, it differed. yeah, it differed, but again, you're still scare acting. So I hope that answers your question. Becca Wingate, shout out to you, my cave sister. Hope you're well, darling. I have one. What was it like to sing, and how did you keep your voice intact? All the love and congrats on the amazing season. Thank you so very much, Becca. What was it like to sing? It was good. I mean, again, like I kind of quit. I basically quit singing. I didn't want to do it anymore, and it wasn't what I imagined my scare season looking like. But it was still fun. I like it. Like I am a singer, or was, so there is that enjoyment in me of singing to a crowd. So yes, I did enjoy it, but I definitely think I more enjoyed the interactions I got to have in character, whether that was as Manu or the clowns or the pinata. How'd you keep your voice intact? Definitely days where I wasn't Manu and I was pinata, I would be basically quiet all day. Hugo, when I played Hugo, I played it completely quiet other than the set lines he has in the show. I just had wide eyes and just didn't say a word. And when I was the clown, I would talk, but nowhere near as much. And when I did talk, it was a lot more of a child-friendly sort of high-pitched more voice, and I wasn't using it as much. And yeah, so like a lot of vocal rest, and then steaming, and then honey and lemon, and then strepsils and crying. Basically, but not always in that order. But yeah, that was basically it. But we got through it. Thank you for your question, Becca. Next up from Spooky, Slightly Festive Inferno Demon at Missy Lilith. Thank you for your question. How did beating Hattie's father, Harry, second favourite Harry variation after Sad Clown Harry, feel? And also, was it hard to sing Tainted Love so well, like every hour? How did beating Hattie's father, Harry, feel? I'm guessing that meant when I beat up Harry as the pinata, but I don't know if I did. I was Manu when he was the pinata. I wasn't Hugo. Not sure I understand that question. That part of the question, sorry. But I enjoyed working with Harry very much. A fantastic show captain, incredibly talented guy.
Hello everyone, it's me, Turvey. Can I get a whoop whoop? Thank you so much. Just to make you aware, in 4 minutes there's going to be a little bit of like an entertainment thing. Just stick around, have some fun, get a drink, I don't know, or don't, just leave. I don't care, alright? See you I've been Turvey and you've been terrible.
I very much hope I get the chance to work with him again. Major shout out to Harry and all the work that he did for the entire cast and just Birthday Bash as a whole. So yeah, big shout out to Harry. We love him dearly. Was it hard to sing Tainted Love so well, like every hour? Well, I appreciate your compliment, but it definitely got worse as the day went on. Like, and even guests that I know a bit better, like from they've come multiple times this year and last year. There was a point towards the end of the season where they came up to me like, oh, "You're vocally tired, aren't you?" I was like, yes, I am. So I wouldn't say I always sang it very well, but I'm glad that you it was okay when you heard it. But again, a lot of vocal rest whenever possible, honey and lemon, strepsils, and crying. Yeah, it's basically my 2 cents for you. Next up from Adam Bysouth at Adam Bysouth. I have one. Were you also a clown in trailers? If so, how was playing the part, and how is that different to other roles in the scare mazes? No, I did not play a clown in trailers. I only ever played a clown in Birthday Bash. So I can't answer that part of the question. How was it playing the part? I can't. If you're coming from a perspective of trailers, then I don't know because I didn't do it. Look to the fantastic cast of trailers, and they will show you the way. But how is that different to other roles in the scare mazes? I mean, again, if you're talking specifically about trailers, I didn't do it, so I can only speculate. But what I will say is trailers is an incredible scare maze with such a massive variation in types of roles that you need to be able to play. All with different ways of making sound, all different ways of moving. So much to think about, so many different characters. You had to be good to be in trailers, really good. So massive shout out to that entire cast for an incredible first year. And I could only guess in terms of how is the clown different to other roles in trailers. They're all just very different roles, and I wouldn't feel right answering that because I haven't done it, but they were fantastic and you seem to have enjoyed it, so I hope that somewhat answers your question. Probably not, but we do our best. Next up, we've got Smile Always, who says, not a question, but huge thank you for the show. I had to read that one out because if you're going to go take the time to leave a lovely comment like that on my Twitter, on the thing where I've said leave me questions, then it'd be very rude of me not to answer. So thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Next up, we've got from Kim Nash at Kim Nash Comedy 01. Thank you for your question, Kim. Out of all the characters you got to play in Birthday Bash, which one was your favourite to play and why? P.S. Congrats on the show. Thank you for your question. For me, it was probably the clown. I loved playing a clown. I love that. I love that genre. I love that theming. It allowed me to very much play to my body and move in a way that I like to move as a scare actor. There's a lot of freedom in how you can talk and what you can say, similar to being a buckwheat. I think I just like freedom. I think I like just being able to like be given like a loose IP, like you're a psychopath with a chainsaw or you're a clown, and be told like, and now you can basically within reason move and talk and say pretty much again within reason what you want. I just like that freedom. But yeah, so I loved playing a clown, so that was definitely my favourite. But I enjoyed Manu as well. I had some great moments as Manu. It was always fun having moments, like especially with the kids, Hattie and Hugo, like calming them down. Those were always really fun, and just getting to work with Shaney and getting to work with Abby and just do a lot more. Again, like last year I was psychopath like acting, whereas this year was a lot more sarcastic and a lot more like looking down your nose at people, and that was fun as well. We had a good laugh. So I enjoyed Manu, and again Pinata was a lot of fun. I wasn't keen on the idea of playing Pinata, but I did my first shift and I was like, oh, this is actually quite fun, and I ended up doing it a couple of times after that. Hugo was really fun as well. I only ever did that once, but that was a lot of fun. But yeah, I would say clown was probably my favourite role that I got to do in Birthday Bash. We have already answered this one, but either way, I'll read out GG Brownies at Brownies_V2. What was it like doing Bash most nights and doing most of the characters? So again, I think I've talked about that. Bash was a lot of fun. It was always very different. It was like the characters I got to play, I absolutely loved all of them. There was variety there. Yeah, we've talked a lot about that already, but obviously wanted to read the question. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Really glad things worked out the way they did, and I think Birthday Bash is genius. I really do. I think it's easy to underappreciate at first, but the more of a chance you give it, the more it will give you back. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed that, and hope that answers your question.
We love you, Creek. We love you. Thank you, Creek Freaks. Thank you. You're amazing.
And next up we have Luca at Luca8054068. How did it feel after all you've been through Fright Nights to return to the Sawmill and come back to Unchained for only one night? So yeah, again, I mentioned this, you know, I loved it. Like, last year was very sentimental to me for so many reasons. Playing Lucas was, and still is, like one of the proudest things I've ever done. And a character that, yeah, really pulled me out of a dark place mentally. Getting to experience that. So yeah, it meant the world to me to be able to go back and do it again and know that like people were excited. I got permission to do it ahead of time, and I announced it on social media, and like there were people that were so excited for me, and that was obviously like lovely. And then the fact that I actually got to be in the sawmill. Shout out to Imi, the show captain, who was fantastic. She actually won show captain of the year. Big up, really. I didn't get to know her that well, unfortunately. But the interactions I did have with her, she seems really lovely. Everyone talks about her in very high stead. And clearly she was a fantastic show captain. Shout out to that entire cast as well for welcoming me in for the day. Throughout the season, I would go and watch the YouTube videos and the vlogs, and you always start off by looking for the ones of your own attraction because you want to see yourself and your own castmates and see how it looks and how it sounds. But anytime I came across a Creek one, I would always watch it because that maze/zone is so special to me. I would always watch their stuff, and they actually absolutely killed it this year. Absolutely killed it. So it was an honour to get to work with them. Some people that I've never worked with before. A couple of people that I got to work with from last year. Shout out to Callum, you psychopath. So yeah, it was amazing to get into the sawmill and get to be Lucas for one more night. And hey, that may be the last time I ever get to do it, and probably is, to be honest. And hey, what a way to go out. So yeah, absolutely loved it.
Goodbye, crows. Have a lovely day. Thanks for coming to the party.
I like them a lot, Daddy.
Ah, they were wonderful, weren't they, darling?
I want them again next year.
We'll bring them back next year.
Laces undone and it's going into the mud.
Thursday, the 4th of November. ScareCon is upon us. Welcome back, gang. Yeah. We back for a party. So the time has come for ScareCon Aftershock. I'm currently walking around Thorpe Park, there's the crows right there, in the dark, pretty much on my own. It seems dead. It's my first time experiencing it. It's kind of creepy, I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, it looks like it's gonna be a good ScareCon. Nice seeing all of my cast and cast of the other actors all coming in after 4 days rest to finish the final stretch. Hopefully ScareCon's a good one.
So that is all the questions gone through in quick time. I'm up to 55 minutes of recording, but I've paused between some questions, so I'm hoping I can wrap that up to be a lot shorter than that. But obviously I've also included random vlog footage and rehearsal footage and bits and bobs over the top of everything. But yeah, I kind of want to wind it down now, so if anyone does have any extra questions, things that they want to ask, do please feel free to put them in the comments below, and I will absolutely respond to them in a comment of my own. Subscribe to the channel, please. If it's completely free. Most of my content is Pokemon stuff. Spoiler, just a massive geek. Most of my content is gaming and Pokemon stuff, but I do play other games as well outside of Pokemon. I'm definitely going to be playing the new Harry Potter game when that comes out, the new God of War game when that comes out, and a whole host of other things. So yeah, subscribe to the channel, and if you're into watching streamers and stuff like that, if that's a bit of you, then stick around. And even if it's not, but you just want to subscribe just to support and then never come back, then I appreciate that too. But also give this video a like; it really helps out with the algorithm. But yeah, I want to wrap up by just saying what an incredible year. Again, it's not what I imagined doing when I at the beginning of this year, but how amazing it worked out. I got to play loads of different types of characters and have a real laugh doing it. I got to act, I got to sing, I got to dance a bit, and just work with just such an incredible cast who all mean so much to me. I'm sure all of my cast will have come onto this vlog just to sort of flick through, but if you're still watching now, I love you. I miss you so much. Shout out to the other cast and people I got to know a bit better this year or meet for the first time. And shout out to yous that I still haven't had a conversation with, but here's hoping this time next year. But there's still such talent at Fright Nights, man. Like, it's literally like my peers in no other way that I've felt like I've been with my peers. You know, I've worked with the best singers, the best actors, the best dancers, but like, such respect for everyone that goes through Fright Nights, because it really is an experience unlike anything else. Shout out to the fans, people that like show respect to their scare actors and come through and you immerse yourselves and you get involved. Yeah, like, just shout out to you, shout out to the fans of Fright Nights, man. Shout out to all the staff. Again, I talked about Molly. Molly, I love you so much. Like, thank you so much for this beautiful baby that didn't realise I wanted, but turns out did. That is birthday bash, that is. Sorry, Jim. Yeah, shout out to the staff, shout out to Steph Ricketts, who has gone up even higher in the world of Merlin to create even more incredible experiences and mazes and the such like for you all for days to come. And yeah, but was still so involved with everything this year and there for people. Shout out to Emily and Mike. Shout out to Leah, who is leaving to you're such Leah, if you're watching this, you are such a, I can't think of Fright Nights without thinking of you. So to think about Fright Nights without you being there feels really weird to me, but I know that you're really excited about the job that you're going on to do, and you will be amazing at it. So shout out to you. Again, shout out to Jim. Shout out to Georgia, who her and Jim just made the most incredible costumes. I know Georgia from my time at Chesington. I've always known her to be incredibly talented and just makes for such fantastic stuff. And she made all the Fright Nights costumes this year for like so many people. I know Jim would have done stuff as well, but I think that was mostly a Georgia thing. But yeah, between the two of them, just incredible costume props. Like, Fright Nights would die would fall flat on its face without them. Shout out to all the other TLs, to Jack, to James. This is the part where I start forgetting people, and if I haven't said your name, I love you nonetheless, and I appreciate everything that you do. But yeah, big up Fright Nights. And again, if you've got any more questions, leave them down below. Again, massive shout out to Harry, our show captain. Birthday Bash would not have been what it was without you. Shout out to my entire cast. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So we'll leave you on whatever random video is going to play us out. But for now, thank you very much for watching. And remember, we're all mad here.